If you or someone you love is dealing with CPS, you need to hear this. You're not in a safety system, you're in a revenue trap, and I've got the proof. But first, I'm physically fit, I'm mentally awake, and I'm morally aligned. I do not take any drugs, street or prescription, and I haven't touched alcohol in 15 years. I'm non-violent. I wish no harm on anyone, including myself. So for the ones in the back, I'm not suicidal, and I want no harm to come to anyone. Not even the ones that I'm about to call out in this. The ones who show up to court every single day, day after day, intimidating already traumatized families. Then you sit there pushing the same lie day after day for your paycheck. And now I'm convinced you know it's a lie. I know you know it's a scam because I'm just a guy. And after a few hours of watching your own training videos and reading your conduct manuals, then matching that directly against what I see in the courtroom, the scam couldn't be more obvious. I've watched your own training curriculum, judge, caseworker, CASA, attorneys, you name it, and it's all scripted. I'm not guessing, I'm not speculating. I've seen the playbook. CPS foundation training, 41 days of in-person indoctrination, plus 26 CPS response training sessions with simulations on hearing, risk scoring, and courtroom tactics. CASA, 30 hours of new volunteer core curriculum, no mental health license required, yet you get to write court reports that can terminate parental rights. Court-appointed attorneys, in many states you get 8 hours of juvenile dependency training a year, and it's mostly theory, it's not defense. Judges, you're certified through the CIP, Court Improvement Program. That's the same pipeline that funds the very system that you're ruling on. Now, I've watched the videos and I've read the manuals. I've matched the script and the performance in court. The moves, the language, the sequence, all of it. It's very deliberate. And you didn't stumble into these tactics. You practice them. You drill them. You know exactly what you're doing. And now the public knows too. So every single time you walk into that courtroom and you push that narrative and you cash that check, you're not able to hide behind your title anymore. You're standing out in the open. And when the tide turns, your name will be etched next to the damage that you have caused. Quit while you still have a choice. And yeah, I want no harm to come to you because I am a peaceful man. So if you or someone you love has been dragged into CPS for needing family assistance and you're now coded as a potential risk, or if an anonymous call got you targeted even though you've never abused your children, you're one of the 98%. You need to lock in, listen, and take notes because I am about to tear this bitch apart. Before you even get into the courtroom, you should understand the science of why you feel like you're losing your grip. It's called induced power differential. This is handler psychology. It's the same model used in wartime interrogation, high control cults, and juvenile lockup behavior programs. Step 1, overwhelm your senses. Step 2, isolate you from your allies. And step 3, reframe themselves as your protector. And in family court, that protector is the same one that's building the case against you. This isn't an accident. These tactics were imported straight from post-conflict military programs and corporate compliance training, then dressed up as child safety protocols. The point is not truth. The point is compliance. And once you know the playbook, you can spot it before it lands. Now, after hours of hearing and seeing different CPS court cases, this is what clicks for me. And here's what you need to know. You need to realize this very first. They all work together. Child removal, court proceedings. This is their office. This is their place of employment, their world. You're the only one that's here that isn't being paid. They help each other build their careers. They share the same gossip. Who's the judge sleeping with now and who barely escaped an HR claim? They speak in code that sounds like English, and what they're saying really has more than one meaning. Best interest? It's not about your child's inner life. This is the court's performance metric and placement timeline. Reasonable efforts? It isn't actually help. It's documentation that unlocks federal reimbursement. Services? They aren't healing, they're billable events. And attendance? That feeds the pipeline while non-attendance feeds the narrative. Concurrent plan? That means reunification on paper, but adoption in practice. And failure to protect means they can't prove that you harmed the child, so they accuse you of not preventing hypothetical harm. Parental capacity? That's just psych labels pulled from your sessions and turned into a score. Minimizing means you disagree with their narrative, so they code you as having insight deficit. Non-offending parent, that means that you're still risky because you side with the other parent. And stability, that's a placement that keeps the funding clean, not a placement that keeps your child attached. Substantial compliance, it means that you've checked all the boxes, but they can still say your insight is low so that they can extend your case. Visitation enhancement, that just means more surveillance, more notes, more billable minutes. And therapeutic services, that means EPSDT billing stream. Watch the CPD codes, not the comfort. Even child's counsel recommends, that means that they can move the goalpost further without even cross-examining the data. And specifically in court, here's the middle game that's running underneath. I'll break it down real quick. It's overwhelm, isolation, protector frame, conditioning loop. They overwhelm you with the prior conversations letting you know court will go exactly the way they want it to. Next, they isolate you by putting your allies behind you and making sure that you speak last, if at all. They frame themselves as a protector with lines like, "We're concerned," and "We want to help." Then they follow it by requesting stricter supervision. Then they run the conditioning loop: comply, rescore, add a new task, identify a new deficit, repeat. And every one of these phrases that you hear in the courtroom is tied to one of their automated assistant systems. This is not a conversation. This is coding. Here, let me break down the tools real quick. These are what they're using to code you. Traverse is built by Northwoods. This is the caseworkers logging system. Every visit, every phone call, every so-called casual observation, it gets entered here. And it's not just free text. They have drop-down menus for your mood, tone, body language, and even how quickly you answer a question. Every drop-down they hit creates a data point that's tied to a Medicaid reimbursement. Guardian, this one links your entire case history to the court's scheduling and compliance systems. It holds every note from Traverse, every risk score, and every service deadline. If you show frustration in a visit, Guardian doesn't forget. Even if your case closes, that flag is still attached and archived to your name, and it can follow you forever. Then there's Safe Measures. This is run by the National Council on Crime and Delinquency's Children Research Center. This is the compliance scoreboard. It tracks every time you miss a visit, show up late to a service, or question a caseworker's instruction. Your compliance percentage drops in real time, and when it drops low enough, they can call you non-compliant on paper. That number feeds directly into the permanency timeline, and it can be used as justification for terminating your parental rights. Medicaid, EPSDT billing. This is early periodic screening, diagnostic, and treatment. This is where the real money flows. Every therapy session, parenting class, drug test, and supervised visit, all of it is assigned a CPT billing code. The second it's logged in Traverse, Medicaid's billing clock starts ticking. EPSDT, it's rules written for healthcare, but in CPS, they're used as a funding engine. Then there's CIP. That's your court improvement program. This is the quiet one in the background. It's tracking how your court meets federal performance goals, and those goals are directly tied to the state funding. Title 4E, this is the jackpot. This is the federal program that reimburses states for the cost of out-of-home placement. This is what the judge really does. He makes sure everyone has it filled out and in on time, or the funding stalls. The longer your child stays in foster care, the more opportunities they have to bill under 4E, but only if those codes in Traverse, Guardian, and Safe Measures are kept current and complete. This is why your case moves the way it does. It is a perfect design. Now, let's see who these people really are. Caseworker, that's just the face of the machine. On paper, their role is child safety, but in reality, their operational mandate is metrics. Policy says 50% of their visits must be in-home. Every contact, in-person, phone, and text, it must be entered into Traverse within 3 business days. And here's the kicker. There's no blanks allowed. So even if you didn't give them anything negative, they still have to code something, because an empty field can't be billed. In Traverse, they select drop-down codes for your mood, your responsiveness, and your engagement level. Guardian, it ingests these entries, updating your behavioral risk score in real time. Safe Measures tracks whether you're hitting service deadlines, and Medicaid pulls those same contracts to trigger billing. Workers are trained to operate as dual role handlers. They frame themselves as your ally. I'm here to help you get your kids back, while collecting coded evidence to justify permanency away from you. It's compliance conditioning disguised as support. And every smile, every nod, every I understand is a data capture moment. The judge, you probably thought was neutral, but think more like a project manager for federal compliance. Under Section 475 of the Social Security Act, they must verify placement type, permanency plan, reasonable efforts, and service timelines at each hearing. If any of those aren't documented in Guardian, 4E funding freezes for that case. So what do? They keep the pipeline moving. They sign off even if they haven't read the file. They use Safe Measures permanency data to justify the decision. They keep hearings short to maintain throughput, because the docket isn't just a calendar, it's a production schedule tied to funding. Their tactic is authority framing. They set the tone and they limit your speaking time. They control the narrative arc. They're not looking for truth, they're looking for the complete compliance package, a case that's filled with federally billable accounts. And if your county is on the performance improvement cycle, the pressure isn't just on you, it's on them to hit those metrics, even if that means cutting your clock through Unify. Court-appointed attorneys. This is the silent choke point in your defense. Flat rate contracts, sometimes under $500 per case. In trial, that's just unpaid overtime. So their incentive is simple. Don't fight, don't file, don't stall the machine. In many states, those contracts are issued by the same judicial districts that hear your case. So if they push too hard or they question too much, their name will drop to the bottom of that assignment list. They run a soft control model, learned helplessness. They mirror the language of help. Just follow the case plan, it's the fastest way home. While making zero moves to challenge the state's evidence, they frame stipulation, agreeing to their version of events as cooperation when it's actually your legal suicide note. CASA and GAL, court-appointed special advocate or guardian ad litem. 30 hours of training, no mental health license, but their reports carry the same courtroom weight as an expert witness. Their national training manual teaches them to observe for inconsistent affect, delayed emotional regulation, and passive parenting style. All subjective, all wide open to bias, and their magic phrase, the child may benefit from a more stable environment. That's coded language for terminating your rights without saying it outright. Their observations get entered into Traverse as a narrative text, but those key words are indexed. When inconsistent affect appears, it can trigger Guardian's predictive risk model to flag you even higher for future removal. That means a single opinion from someone with 30 hours of training can follow you into a case years later. Then we have the therapist or the evaluator. This is the one that you think might be there to help you explain what you've been through. In the CPS world, their contracts are usually Medicaid, EPS-DT, or Title IV-B wraparound. They're not hired to heal you. They're hired to assess parental capacity. And session notes that should be private, they're not. Under most CPS service contracts, every note is submitted within 48 hours to your case file in Guardian. That includes your offhand comments, your body language, and even the way that you sat in the chair. They're running an extractive interview. Every question is a data probe. They're not listening to hear you. They're listening for their billing codes, cognitive inaptability, unresolved trauma, parenting insight level. Each one is a CPT code linked to reimbursement. Those same notes feed Safe Measures compliance scoring. So if they note poor insight, it justifies extending services. And extending services keeps your case 4E eligible. There's the loop. You're not a client, you're a claim. And here's one that they really don't want you to know. HIPAA doesn't protect you here. In CPS ordered services, you're not the client, the agency is. That means that the therapist, the evaluator, the parenting instructor, they don't work for you. They work for CPS and you're the subject. They own the record. Everything you say, every note they type, it goes straight to your file through Guardian. And then that data is monetized and weaponized against you. And who do they aim this machine at? It's not the people with the highest abuse rates. Those numbers are the same across every tax bracket. Look it up. They target communities with the most service touchpoints: Medicaid, public schools, housing programs, places where every form you fill out, every check-in is another data point for their predictive model. And yeah, there are parents who find themselves on drugs or alcohol and realize it's unsafe for their kids and themselves. They want help, they need help. But in this system, asking for help only triggers the removal pipeline. We should have risk-free help, real support. But the way it is built now, your crisis isn't a red flag to support you. It's a green light to code you, bill you, and break you. So now I address the court as a former foster child from one of the millions of shattered homes based on your risk. You want us to look unstable, so that the caseworker can code reasonable concern in Traverse. Then the judge can justify non-reunification in Guardian, so that the attorney can lean over and whisper, "This is normal and we got this." Then the CASA can stamp instability into their report, so the therapist can bill a CPT code for poor insight. Then the evaluator can flag for extended services, so Safe Measures can drop the compliance score. Then Medicaid can bill another cycle, so that the agency can justify keeping the child out of the home longer, so that the state can hit that Title IV-E reimbursement trigger. Then the caseworker can flag emotional volatility while the judge logs parental non-progress, so that the attorney can now lean over and whisper, "Just give up your rights and go with their plan," so that CASA inserts inconsistent attachment in their report, so that the therapist can write treatment resistant, so that the evaluator marks unfit to reunify, so that Safe Measure drops your permanency forecast score, while EPS-DT billing hits a higher Medicaid tier, so that the agency locks in a long-term placement. Then the state closes the match for a second 4E payout, while each player in that courtroom advances their own careers, then cashes their paychecks to take home to their wonderful families, while ours gets coded, flagged, fractured, shattered, and shit on and legally erased. What the